In the early morning hours of October 6, 1974, a chill was felt in the air of Ossett, a small, sleepy town in Yorkshire, England. But it wasn't because it was a cool, crisp fall day. It was because an unspeakable act had just occurred. A devoted wife and loving mother to 5 children was violently murdered alongside the family dog in her home. The manner in which she was killed was so evil, it left the town in a state of shock and terror. The killer was quickly identified and detained in a psychiatric hospital to await trial. Who was the killer? None other than her husband. And his defense? You guessed it. This is the possession of Michael Taylor.
Welcome to another episode of Hosting Evil. I'm Emily.
And I'm Jess, and getting closer to the Halloween holiday, I've got a really great case for you, Emily.
I'm so ready.
Okay, this case has been referenced in prominent thriller novels and more recently given a nod to in the movie The Conjuring 3. When the main characters were drawing similarities between this case and the Orange Cheyenne Johnson possession, Michael Taylor was born on September 21st, 1944 in Yorkshire, England. There isn't much information about his early years, but it seems that nothing noteworthy happened in his childhood.
Just a regular dude.
Just a regular guy, and he appeared to be well-adjusted. So he was described as being laid back and never gave any problems. So he met and fell in love with Christine, and they married and had 5 kids together, all boys.
Okay.
At the time of the incident, the children ranged in ages from 6 to 12. So they were pretty young.
Yeah, young and all together, right?
Yep.
5. That's a lot of babies.
5 boys. So friends of the family said there was a lot of love and happiness in the Taylor family, and that Michael, by all accounts, seemed like a great husband and loving father who would never hurt anyone. Famous last words, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're setting this up.
Yeah. So the family was what I would consider middle class.
Mm-hmm.
They had a roof over their head and food on the table, but then things took a turn when Michael suffered a back injury that made it hard for him to hold down long-term employment as a butcher. Just keep that in mind as we progress in the story, what his job was.
Yeah, right? He's a butcher, but also has an injured back, so can he really butcher?
Well, we will see. So his being out of work at times did put a financial strain on the family, as Christine was a stay-at-home mom and often caused Michael to have bouts of depression. I mean, understandably so. You're the head of the household, and you
can't work.
Your family relies on you.
Patriarchal English society,
especially in the 70s.
Yeah.
But even during these depressed moments, Michael was still holding down the fort and was able to push through and overcome.
Okay, so a steady dad.
Yeah, he was
steady husband.
He was doing a good job.
Yeah.
So the Taylors lived in the town of Ossett, which was home to a lot of families that were pretty religious.
Okay.
The Taylors, however, weren't. It's not that they didn't believe in God or the church, it's just they would often skip it, and it wasn't high on their priority list for whatever reason.
Sure.
So a friend of the family, Barbara Wardman, maybe saw this lack of religion in their home and the depressed bouts Michael would have as her segue into introducing them to the Christian fellowship group. She was like, look, I get it. You don't like church, but this group isn't like that. It's more like, conversational.
I got the answer to your bouts of depression.
She was doing her salesman job. So yeah, the group was more conversational rather than lecturing. So she's like, come check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about this Christian fellowship group for a minute because they play a huge part in this case. The group focused more on the supernatural components of the Bible. That's where their hyper focus was.
Cool.
And they believed in practicing faith healing. So this is like I don't know, you have herpes, don't call the doctor. We will heal your mouth sores with prayer.
Yeah. Call on God.
Yes. And I'm not knocking it, but for me personally, I would leave this more to like seasonal allergies or period cramps or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But no, this group was all about the faith healing. The group was also into like more upbeat praise music. And for that time, the churches were mostly the hymnals that we all, know and love to try to stay awake to. And the group was energetic and definitely put off a different vibe than the typical church setting. But some members of this group would later refer to it as more of a cult rather than a church.
I was waiting for that.
And it never really took on, that cult mentality because things escalated.
Or official cult status necessarily.
Correct. But it did have that vibe, that undertone to it. So going back to Barbara, she kind of went through all this with the Taylors, and by the end of her plea, they agreed to go.
Okay.
So attending the first service, this is where the Taylors met the leader of this group, Marie Robinson. Marie had this way about her. She was very captivating and drew people in with her charm, her wisdom.
Here's our charismatic cult leader.
Yes. And her vibrant youth. She was only 22.
Whoa.
Blonde.
Whoa. ...
And 22.
Yeah.
Just trying to paint a nice little picture here because Michael, age 31, was enamored.
Of course.
With her. So like I said, she was the leader of this group, and whether she was ever asked to be or not, it was just an unspoken title she held. Like everyone knew. They needed something, go to Marie. They looked to her for all the answers. Yeah. So Michael became, a smitten kitten with this Marie almost immediately. And what an asshole too, because there sits his wife, the woman who birthed 5 children per year consecutively, just watching this unfold front row.
And she's had to live with him, probably suffer all his suffering, all his bad moods,
his bouts of depression,
and
his
they're trying to
strain.
do something. She's trying to help him improve his life, and now he's lusting over
this young hotsy-totsy.
Yeah.
So, and like a true woman of that time, Christine didn't say much about it. She kind of was like closed-mouthed. She's probably just chalking it up to his just being excited to be there out of the house. So she didn't say anything initially.
Okay. And maybe she was just happy
that he was feeling
happy.
something.
Yeah, right.
Whether it was for her, this woman or anyone. Michael became this overzealous group member, and he started spending more time away from his home and more time with Marie and the group.
Oh, Lord.
He attended meetings where group members were exorcised and demons were cast out with what they called the power of God.
Okay.
Marie began offering Michael private sessions where they would sit across from one another, making the sign of the cross over and over on each other's forehead for like hours. I'm talking like 8+ hours.
That's really weird. If you wanted to do that right now, I would say no.
Yes, and I would agree with that analysis. They believe, though, that by doing this, it would dampen the evil forces that were around them.
But why do you want to dampen them? Maybe you should let them remain
dry.
Flourish. No, well, yeah, let them chill.
No, they believed,
there's enough moss and fog in England. There's no need to dampen anything.
All right, so Michael quickly developed the ability to speak in tongues, too.
Oh, shit.
This was actually prevalent in this group, but he just got in there.
Right.
So some of the group members were like eyebrow raising him for this. Like, are you really speaking in tongues, or are you just pretending to get praise from Marie? Because it was also clear to everyone around them that he had fallen for her.
Oh, well, at least there's some critical eyes, though. That's good to hear.
Yes, and they all knew it, but they didn't confront.
Him.
But they were more confronting his actions and behaviors about the other stuff.
Okay.
And kind of saying, well, this is just so he could get closer to her.
Well, yeah.
And just for people that don't know, the ability to speak in tongues is speaking in an unknown language when the Holy Spirit is said to be present or moving through you. And because there's no set criteria for this language, it kind of sounds like gibberish.
Yeah.
One can absolutely fake it for sure. I know I did when I was 12 because that was a thing at my church and I wanted to be cool.
Or have you ever
So-
seen the movie Saved?
Yeah. So, I mean, it absolutely can be faked because, like I said, there's no set
Yeah.
criteria for it, and it just sort of sounds like quick gibberish. As Michael and Marie spent more time together, his mental health started deteriorating pretty rapidly, and Marie
no.
was hyper fixated on helping him.
Right.
And so when she was around, he was mysteriously more out of sorts. One can say maybe again this was due to his wanting attention from her, and Michael would also divulge these odd fears to Marie.
Okay.
One being that he was fearful of the moon. So the remedy, Marie spent the night in the Taylor home to try to help a brother out. You can almost see Michael's train of thought here. How can I get her in my house at night with my wife's permission? I know. I will declare I'm scared of the moon.
I'm afraid of the moon. Because, I mean, you never know when it's going to fall out of the sky.
Or possess you. I don't know what his fear was, but it worked because Marie spent the night.
Okay.
So it sort of seems like they were developing this like codependent type of relationship with one another. She needed someone to fix, and he needed someone to fix him.
And a hot young blonde.
She's gonna do the job. Gonna do the job. So around this time, Christine had reached her breaking point and was like, "That's it. I'm calling time on this BS. I've had enough." And God bless her too, because she did it publicly.
Oh, shout out to Christine.
During one of the church services, she publicly accused the two of having an affair in front of all the members.
Oh, God bless. I would be thriving.
And she was probably like, there, I said it. It's what everyone's thinking anyway. What do you have to say for yourself?
That's pretty badass, though, because imagine the moxie.
And it's, again, going back to the 70s.
Yeah, right. And in the church and around these people that obviously believe in this woman.
So Michael, who was normally this like chill guy, became enraged. And instead of turning his anger on his wife, who had just accused him, he turned his rage to Marie and started shouting obscenities at her and then lunged at her. It was stated that his face twisted and contorted into something described as animal-like, and he also started screaming at her in different languages.
Okay, I am shocked. This is not what I was expecting. So
for him to turn his anger on her.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking it's more like deflecting, because I think if you're Michael and your wife just accused you and you got mad at her, everyone's going to say, oh, he definitely did it then.
That's true.
That's
solid.
The thing to do. Oh, turn it on the woman you just accused me of sleeping with. That'll throw him off.
Yeah.
I'm speculating.
Right.
Okay, so he's yelling at Marie, and then he brutally slapped her across the face.
Oh, no.
In front of everyone.
Oh, no.
Marie later stated that the look in his eye led her to believe that he wanted to kill her, and she was scared for her life.
Understandable. Yeah.
So several members of the church sprung into action, and it took some time for them to restrain Michael. I mean, we've seen this before with that, like, insane strength people have when they're allegedly under the guise of some demons. But Marie and the group quickly forgave Michael, and by the next day, it was as if nothing had happened.
Wow.
I would not forgive so lightly if dude slapped me across the face. I'm sorry.
Yeah. When someone shows you who they are, you believe it.
Absolutely. Marie was even able to calm Christine down and eased her fears about infidelity, so much so that Christine continued to allow Marie to spend the night in their home to help Michael overcome his fake fear of the moon. So she was really charismatic.
Also, if someone hit me in the face, I don't think I would be pushed so much to help them get over their moon fears. I would be like, this is your moon to bear.
But I think Marie wanted to be like this martyr.
Yeah.
Martyr
there
complex.
You go.
Like, oh, I'm going to save him. I'm going to save him, everybody. Just watch.
Yeah.
So Marie claimed there was no sexual relationship between her and Michael, and would later recount a story during trial where Michael actually tried to kiss her and she was having no parts of it. So in retaliation for his getting rejected, she claims he attacked her at his home. But again, she forgave him and continued meeting with him.
Okay, so she's dumb.
Good choices, right?
Yeah.
Like, superior. Like, I'd kill my daughter if she kept going back to this dude.
Exactly.
Michael's recollection of that event, however, was vastly different. He claimed that one time when Marie was at his house, he suddenly, just like out of nowhere, found himself naked and felt that evil was present. He said Marie's eyes turned to slits and she seduced him. He said he tried to fight it, but that gosh darn temptation came over him.
Oh my God.
Couldn't believe they're so different, these stories. So during trial, he said that he originally went to Marie to seek spiritual guidance and that in retrospect, he realized this was probably not the right way to do it and felt betrayed by her.
Can you imagine your significant other telling you that, oh no, honey, I didn't want to sleep with her. I didn't want to get naked for her, but the devil in her
Made me do it.
Yeah, that would.
The devil made me. I'm going to start using that excuse. I'm sorry, the devil made me do it.
The devil made me do it.
So everyone who knew Michael said that he had changed drastically and that this was not the Michael they knew. By this point, he had lost his job again and had severe depression on top of everything else. Christine said that when he was home, he was irritable and angry and seemed to get no joy out of being around her or the kids, whereas before he relished being with them. He was the family guy.
Damn, so it's almost like he was better before they went to the church.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
His behaviors were also getting more and more erratic. Out in public, he would spit on people and tell them it was the milk of human kindness. Look, there are some weird milks that come from some weird shit out there, like cashews, but I've never heard of this.
Ain't one of them. What?
Could you imagine getting spit on?
One,
And having someone tell you
I would probably crawl out of my skin.
But it's okay. It's the milk of human kindness.
Oh, no thank you. No thank you. I'm lactose intolerant to human kindness.
Yes. So these behaviors caught the attention of a local vicar and his wife. So a vicar is a title given to certain parish priests. So enter Peter and Sally Vincent. The couple invited the Taylors to their home for dinner so they could properly assess Michael's condition and figure out what the heck was going on with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So at this lovely dinner, Michael shattered and destroyed some dinnerware and threw their cat out of the window.
Oh no, not the cat.
The cat. Like, what did the cat do to you? But
Yeah.
he chucked it right out the window. So Peter and Sally looked to one another and were like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? This dude needs an exorcism right quick.
I would have said a psychotherapist, but
No, they went right for it. This guy's got a demon in him.
exorcism, yeah.
So the Vincents sought out several people that they knew to form the Exorcism Dream Team.
Mm.
I think we should put that on a shirt, by the way.
Yeah, we should.
On October 5th, 1974, this dream team got together to perform the exorcism on Michael. In attendance was also his wife, Christine, and some wives of the ministers that were invited to help. They made sure to restrain Michael to the floor so he couldn't harm anyone. As they began, Michael started screaming and convulsing, and it escalated to him biting, scratching, and spitting as things progressed.
I wonder if it was still the milk of kindness.
Thinking it was the milk of torment or something at this
Yeah,
point.
right?
Anytime someone came near him, he would bite and snarl like a wild animal.
Okay.
The exorcism consisted of prayers, confessions, and Bible readings. And the exorcism went on for all hours while Michael fought and acted more like an animal rather than a human.
Mm.
At one point, a crucifix was jammed in his mouth and they completely soaked him in holy water. You know how you see priests like flicking the
Yeah.
holy water? No, they like drenched this guy in holy water. How? I have no idea, but he was drenched.
He probably needed it. Maybe they had some buckets.
Waterboarding with holy water?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you hear some crazy things. There were holy water enemas.
Yes.
So
you're right.
I guess if I had to choose between the holy water enema
And
and
waterboarding?
waterboarding, I would probably go.
I would do the enema. I'm sorry. I
That's
can't
a-
handle not being able to breathe.
I guess the question is which one is over quicker. I
For
don't-
me, I'm still going with the enema. I'm sorry. So if I ever get possessed, please do not waterboard me.
Mental note, holy water enema for Jess.
All the way. So it was identified that there were 43 demons possessing this guy.
God damn.
These demons included demons presiding over such things as incest, bestiality, lewdness, and blasphemy.
Okay.
It's a lot to unpack right there.
Yeah.
So they had been at this exorcism all night, roughly 8 hours. And by the early morning hours, they had successfully cast out 40 of the 43 demons. So it was decided that a break was like much needed at this point. The plan was to have everyone go home, get some rest, I don't know, have some brunch.
Yeah.
And then they would reconvene to finish getting the remaining 3 demons out.
I wonder if they took tea breaks. Can I just, since we're doing this in
that's what
England.
okay, but a wife of one of the ministers, like, quietly from the perimeter raised her hand and was like, excuse me, I don't think that's a very good idea to take a break. She vocalized that she didn't think it was smart because of the specific 3 demons that were allegedly left inside of Michael.
Okay.
She felt it was unsafe. What were those 3 demons? The demon of insanity, violence, and murder.
Okay, yeah, I'm with this lady. She's got it right. Like, why are you gonna let them go?
Those are the big guns right there.
Yeah,
You do
you
not let
couldn't-
them go.
You couldn't have held back,
On
like
lewdness?
blasphemy or something, like, no, it's gotta be the murder demon.
Along with violence and insanity.
Yeah.
And so this wife begged her husband and the others to not let him go because she was like, look, this is dangerous AF. If we let him go, he could kill his wife. Like, she said
She's
that.
A genius.
The group was like, yeah, but we're really freaking tired.
Can
So-
you? Oh, I mean, I can guess where we're going, and can you imagine the "I told you so" conversation?
Oh, they must have been huge.
Just walk around with a sign.
I told you so. Yeah, so I mean, this would have proven to be fatal consequences if they ignored this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Michael and Christine left and went straight home to get some rest, but less than 2 hours later, Christine would be dead. Calls started coming into the local police station about a disheveled, naked man roaming the streets with what was described as red paint all over him.
Why do they always say red paint?
Like,
But
I would never
anyway,
think that would be the
I would
case.
always assume
I always would go
blood.
with blood. Even if it was red paint, because I saw a dude painting, I would still think it was blood. I don't know
Yeah.
why people do that. You're
Yeah.
right.
Anyway.
At that time, an officer was patrolling the area and spotted the man, and it was, of course, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
When the officer approached him, Michael started screaming, "It's the devil's blood! It's the devil's blood!" The officer was like, okay, this
Yeah,
is
that's
crazy.
questionable.
Took him into custody and drove him to a nearby hospital for evaluation, because at this point he didn't know who he was.
right? Well, and who was he, and was he bleeding?
Correct. Meanwhile, though, neighbors of the Taylors had called the police due to noises they had heard coming from the Taylor home.
Okay.
An officer that arrived on scene at the Taylor home later recounted that when he approached the front door, a crime inspector stopped him and said, "You do not want to go in there. I've never seen anything like it. You don't want to see it." And then doubled over and started vomiting in the front yard.
Oh, God. It's not a good way to start things.
No. And that officer would later say that this was the worst crime scene they'd ever worked.
Oh, shit.
Before we go any further, it's important to note that the children were not home when this happened. Thank God.
Yeah.
And also, if you're listening to this while you're eating, you may want to stop. Because it's gross.
Okay.
So what they pieced together is that at some point shortly after Christine and Michael arrived home from the exorcism, Michael succumbed to his violent urges and strangled Christine.
Mm.
He then stripped himself of all of his clothes, so he was totally naked, then proceeded to gouge her eyeballs completely out of their sockets.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know why you would want to do that to someone. That's gross. Michael then pulls her tongue and tears it out of her mouth.
Okay.
Like, pulls it right on out.
Overkill.
Again, butcher. He's used to these things.
Oh, shit. He's a butcher.
He's a butcher.
Oh, no.
But he didn't have any of his tools on. This was all with his bare hands.
Oh, no. I don't know the process of butchering, but now I'm really
I'm guessing you don't
worried.
use your bare hands. You probably use
yeah,
a knife,
no, I
but
know,
this is not what
but-
he did. He used his bare hands to do all this. So after ripping this poor woman's tongue completely out of her mouth,
Ugh.
using his hands and fingernails, he proceeds to rip her face off of her skull.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you literally have to hate someone to put yourself through that.
That's insane. That's insane. This is insane. I think we're going to kill Carly, our producer.
Like, I mean, you have to think, like, how many times, like, look, I've thought to myself many times when I'm speaking to some person I don't like, God, I could just rip their face right off. Does that mean I'm actually going to freaking do it?
Like, I'm trying to soften this by just having the image of Dwight from The Office with the with the face, the CPR doll. Like, I'm trying to imagine that because that's like the softest image
You can have right now to
that I
replace
can
what it actually
afford.
is. And I'm sorry, I mean, I have to describe it because this is
The reality.
I mean, this is the culmination of all of this.
Yeah, this is
So as
fucked.
Christine's lifeless body lay there, he still wasn't finished. If you remember from the intro, they had a dog.
Oh no.
And he turned his attention to that dog, a poodle.
Oh no.
Now, there's some speculation whether it was their family dog or the mother, like the grandmother, whether it was his mother or her mother, because that's where the children were.
Okay.
But either way, it was someone's family dog. He strangled the dog
no, the poor pup.
and then tore out each of the dog's limbs from their sockets and proceeded to throw them all around the house so that blood was everywhere, all over the walls, furniture, and ceiling. Just
Ugh.
strewed them all over the place like a madman.
How? Okay.
Like, how do you
I
go
don't-
from being this calm, gentle, docile dude to being like puppy killer times 100?
I don't know. Just keep going. I want this over with.
Okay, so to recap, you have Christine who's had her face ripped off, eyes and tongue removed,
The
dog who's now limbless, just lying there. So the
Oh my
officers on scene were beside themselves. And you have to remember, it's October and Halloween
Oh shit.
is right around the corner. So super effing creepy.
Yeah.
Like it just took this like another level.
Yeah.
The creep factor is definitely part of this case.
Yeah.
So Michael told the officers later that he was convinced that Christine was actually the one that was demon possessed and said, quote, "Released. I am released. It is done. The evil has been destroyed." He believed the only way for he and Christine to be free of the demons controlling Michael was for her to die. Sounds like a paradoxical statement he made. You admit you're being controlled by demons, but yet Christine's the one possessed and had to be the one to die. Yeah, so going back to the minister's wife, at this point, she and the group had gotten, wind of this, and I'm sure
'cause
she was
it's a
just
small
like,
town.
oh, for sure. I mean, it
she
was
must
instant.
have been reeling.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they all kind of looked at her, were like, maybe we should make her the leader now.
Oh my god.
So Michael was arrested and detained in a high-level psychiatric hospital to await trial because bitch be crazy.
Yeah, he needed to be there. Lock him up.
So this once sleepy town was now wide awake as this crime with demonic undertones and a sensational story became the talk of the town, and a media frenzy ensued. Michael was tried for murder, and the trial began with prosecutors' opening statement, which led with saying what the jury was about to witness will make it difficult to believe you are not back in the Middle Ages. I guess this is coming from the exorcism and like the crucifix being jammed in his mouth and the holy water. I think that whole thing was considered barbaric to them. I mean, it's
mean-
barbaric now, let alone.
Well, a dismembered body, a dismembered dog.
Michael would testify that he had no memory of the actual killings, but stated again that he did believe his wife was possessed by the devil and that he was under supernatural and evil forces.
Okay, Michael. Okay.
Keep talking. The defense attorney zeroed in on the Christian Fellowship group as being a fanatical cult and placed blame squarely on them for having such negative influences over Michael, a man that was already sleep deprived from back pain and suffering from depression, and that this group's ideations led to Michael's warped beliefs that drove him to become mentally insane and pushed him over the edge of reality into murder.
Where was his back pain when he was attacking his wife?
Just mysteriously was gone. The demon
yeah,
took it away.
Right?
For that moment, I'm guessing, is what he's saying. Ultimately, trial come to the very end. Michael was found not guilty of murder.
Whoa!
Wait, get this. And the court cited his error as being a misadventure.
What?
I do not know what the hell that even means. Like, sorry, I meant to go take a shower, but oops, I ripped my wife's face off instead. Sorry, misadventure. Like, what does that even mean?
Well, I was trying to get the demons out of my wife, and it just so happened that the best way to do that was by removing her eyes, tongue, and face. I didn't know that's where I was going to end this day when I started it.
Oops, sorry. So Michael was found by the court, though, to be both criminally and legally insane and was sent to Broadmoor Secure Hospital for the criminally insane.
Thank God.
He would stay there for 2 years, during which time he would try 4 times to commit suicide, and then he was transferred to Bradford Royal Infirmary for another 2 years before, hold on to your seat, being released back out into the world.
I knew it.
For those who are slow at math like me, 4 years after trial, he was now a free man.
That's insane.
Michael would continue to display odd behaviors over the years and once again would find himself in the news when he was arrested for inappropriately touching an underage girl.
What?
This time, he was found guilty, but because he showed a low to medium risk of reoffending and had no prior convictions of sexual assault, just that one murder,
right,
he was slapped with a light 3-year community service sentence.
What?
Also, because he was displaying similar behaviors eerily like he did prior to Christine's death, they were like, maybe we should order him to have some psychiatric treatment.
Oh, just now?
Just now they're realizing this.
Just now? Okay.
It's speculated that Michael was never truly free of the demons, and guess what? He is still alive today at the age of 78.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to do that math, and I was like, he's still living.
So next time you're in Yorkshire, look him up. I have to say, I'm actually shocked, though, that Hollywood hasn't capitalized off the story yet, because there's everything you would want in a good old-fashioned horror movie. It's got a butcher, a cult, betrayal, demons, murder, like everything you would freaking want. Like either someone's gatekeeping the hell out of this, or it's like a gross negligent oversight on Hollywood's part.
That they haven't done it yet. Ugh. Maybe they're just like, I don't really want to have to rip the face off his wife, so we're not going to film this story.
I've seen some messed up horror movies out there. So, like, I don't know with this guy. I think sometimes when you invite negative things into your life, I do think negativity can start surrounding you. Do I think he was like 100 possessed?
Yeah, it's so weird. And the whole, unofficial cult.
And the kids, like,
oh God, the poor kids. What happened to them?
There was an image of Michael older, I would say maybe like late 50s, 60s. He had like a boutonniere. It looked like he was at like a wedding. It didn't say where it was from, but I'm thinking, did one of these freaking kids have this man come to his wedding? I don't know how you have a relationship with your daddy after this happens.
It's very, I don't know. It was, you laid it out so plainly in the beginning, and then the road just got really bumpy and crazy.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Do you think he was possessed?
I don't know. It's hard to say because there's definitely something there. How do you do this behavior? But also my thing is like, even if he wasn't possessed, he's mentally ill. Like nothing that you just told me made sense, probably except for the fact that a guy joined a religious group because he was interested in a 22-year-old blonde leader. That made the most sense.
That's very textbook to me too.
And the whole argument that that his wife had the demon, like that is literally the only thing in the story that makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm thinking early midlife crisis. I don't know.
I don't
what happened with this guy. But he was infatuated, and I think, people do weird things when they're
Hold on a minute, though. Why didn't they try to finish the exorcism for the 3 demons?
I told you, Emily, they needed breaks, they needed tea,
well,
they
no,
needed rest.
Hold on a minute. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need to put together an exorcism dream
to
team.
help him to get his last 3 remaining
and
demons
get those
out.
last 3. Actually, that's the biggest thing. Why not after the case?
Did they not go and try it? Well, probably because whoever was trying this, they didn't believe in that.
Maybe,
and that group wasn't going anywhere near him.
Maybe he needs a Catholic priest.
I wonder if there were exorcisms that were tried on this man after. Because if I'm Michael and I believed that I had 43 demons and 40 were gone.
Yeah, right. I would
3
definitely
were left
be
in
like,
me. I'd be like, oh, hello.
Hi, excuse
Could
me,
someone
I'm
please
sorry.
finish this? Look what just happened.
Excuse me. Wait a minute.
But he did get lewdness taken out of him, and then look what he did a couple years later. So, I don't know. Maybe they came back in. I don't know. Yeah, because insanity, murder, and violence doesn't necessarily fit under the underage girl category to me. I would think lewdness or perversion or something else.
The milk of human kindness. Ugh. Okay.
Hashtag the milk of human kindness. That was a doozy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Hosting Evil. For more information on this case and others, you can visit our website at hostingevilpodcast.com.
And don't forget to check us out on social media at Hosting Evil Podcast.
Until next time, I'm Jess. Peace, love, and light.
And I'm Emily. Keep fighting those demons.
Hosting Evil is recorded and produced by Carly Strange at Rockdale Studios.